It's another Friday evening. Where has that week gone? It's episode 164 of the ProSynth Network live show. Coming to you live from sunny Suffolk in England, and I don't know what the weather's like in Epsom, but we'll soon find out. Those are our two locations today. Benjamin is off gigging in Scotland, of all places. He's branching out. He's going all foreign. Technically speaking, it's true. So it's another week of some synthesizer and music technology news that we shall get on to shortly. Of course, you can join in through the chat, which is just over there, or maybe just down there, depending on how you have your YouTube page set up, or maybe you even pop the chat out. But whatever you do, do engage with us. And if you want to ask a question about anything, just stick a big capital Q in front of it so we can find it and then stick it in a little bucket. And if you're watching on catch up, then of course you can leave your comments below, and we will do our best to answer them if they require an answer. If you want to help us out in any way, please do. It's all very gratefully received. You can use super chat or super stickers if you're on YouTube. You can use the thanks button below if you're watching on catch up, and of course you can make a donation to us at the following address, which is also linked in the description underneath. To everyone that donates, thank you so much, because you keep us going, and while you continue to donate, we shall try our best to continue to do the show and bring you some useful content, and hopefully in the next few weeks some very interesting guests which we have been behind the scenes working on to bring to you, to entertain you more than we can. So there you go. If you want to follow us over on your social medias, then of course we are on Twitter, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and of course right here on YouTube if you haven't found us there already. And I believe that's all of that stuff. Oh no, I forgot to do the typical YouTuber thing. Oh, how are we ever going to get into that exclusive club if we don't do this? Do hit the like button, leave your comments, do subscribe to the channel, smash that bell, and share the living daylights out of our links. We don't care. We like being passed around. There's some jokes there, but I won't go. It's only just gone 7 p.m. Certainly here in the UK it has. We welcome our guests, our chatties, our viewers from all around the world. Thank you ever so much for joining us, whatever time it is, wherever you are. I hope you've had a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Can I also say a big thank you right now to our admins. We've got Andy Brooks, we've got Ben from Musings, and we've got Andy Synth Addict, all in there, keeping you noisy lot in line and in check. And I think they've probably got the easiest job on the internet, because you're all so very well behaved. So thank you, we appreciate that. And there he goes. We're supposed to pay our staff, but he actually pays us, which is fine. Thank you very much for that addition to the Superbooth 2024 fund of £5 British. Maybe that will go towards a Synthplex fund. Been having a discussion today about the possibility of visiting Burbank, I believe, for Synthplex 2024. But yeah, 2023 even. But we'll see. It's early days yet. So thank you very much indeed, Andy, for that. It is much appreciated. And hello to everyone. I shan't go through you all by name. You'll know that I love you. It doesn't matter. And of course, the other person that wants to say hello is Mr. Kent Spong. There he is.
Bonjour.
Is it sunny in Epsom?
No, it's been snowing all day. It's horrible.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, because, we're in the other hemisphere.
Indeed.
Not really.
It's looking... I don't mean to be rude, but it looks a bit of a mess behind you there.
Oh, that's because it is?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, it smells in here as well.
Oh. Do I need... No. Okay, I won't ask. I still see that monitor is sat in its box behind you.
Correct.
Whence it will stay
for a little while yet.
For a little while yet.
Yeah.
Yes. How has your week been?
Oh, massively busy.
Yeah. Lots of synths in and out.
Yeah, I've been well, I've actually shut down the workshop at the moment, and I'm tidying everything up. So
wow.
the garden looks like a South Korean bring and buy sale. Really, it's not. It's stuff everywhere. It's yeah, awful. But it's great to find things I didn't know I had. So
that is always a benefit, isn't it? It's like when I moved house. I was looking around the place and filling up boxes, and I go, "Oh, I'd completely forgotten I got one of those."
Yeah,
and it's when you find something that you've then gone out and bought a replacement of because you couldn't find the original.
absolutely. Yeah.
Is a little bit off.
Yeah.
You have to excuse my lighting here because, again, in this new place, the sun kind of comes round here in the summertime, and buggers up my my very well maintained exposure settings and lighting settings. I don't like to have automatic exposure because it can be a bit weird. But so if I'm turning up the lights, that's because it's all weird, very strange.
You'll have to move.
No, that's not going to happen for a very long time. If I can bloody help it. So anyway, nice to see Homegrown in the chat. I haven't seen you around, my friend. Good to see you back. Hope you are well. I'm not just picking out Ohm there. Of course, we've got Mr. Matt Evans, who has just added to the Synthplex, the non-existent yet Synthplex fund. I had an interesting conversation with a friend in LA today, and he said, "You coming to Synthplex?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd like to." He said, "Well, look, I can help with the costs in as much as you can come stay with me." And I'm like, "Okay, that's handy. Okay. That's not bad." And he's a bit of a synth nerd, so it would be a busman's holiday. In fact, I actually said it would be a bit of a busman's holiday. And bless him, being an American, he said, "A what now?" I said, "A busman's holiday." Apparently, that's not a phrase out there.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
No.
Oh.
So for our American viewers, a busman's holiday is a vacation in which you partake in the activities you normally partake in when not on vacation. So, like, if you, I don't know why it's a busman's holiday and not a tradesman's holiday or a
sex offender's holiday. Or, I don't know. Could be anything.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, you're saying about there's no troublemakers in the chat. That's because they're on the show.
They're on the show. Indeed.
It's me.
Anyway. So thank you, Matt, for that. Look, I'm a poet and didn't even know it. Oh, fantastic! This is the quality of show that we bring you here.
Oh, top notch, mate.
Isn't it? Banging,
top notch. Yeah.
Absolutely banging. So there has been some news going around. There has, and there's been one kind of very, shall we say, contentious topic, which I'm sure maybe people in the chat will like to join in on. So if you do want to throw in your opinion, and we really do want you to, and we welcome that, just stick it might not be a question, it might be a statement, but just stick a capital Q in front of it, because that really does stand out. So if you have any comments about what we're going to be talking about, then let's do that. But yeah, we've got a few things to go through, some new gear, some news in terms of things happening. What else have we got? That's about it, really. So some software news, some hardware news, lots of bits of that. And I think, I have to say, before we carry on, I had a couple of things arrive today, and I really do recommend these. So Tubular Bells, maybe not initially known as an electronic album, because most of it, well, actually all of it's acoustic, I think. Or might there be some synthesizers in the first
There
one?
might be a mini or two in the background.
Yeah, it's mostly acoustic, but it celebrates 50 years. In fact, this week, I believe. And it's just been released on Blu-ray, as well as the multitude of other things. But I have to say, this is the most comprehensive collection of mixes. So you've got there's a brand new Atmos mix, there's a 5.1 surround mix, there's a quadraphonic mix. There's also brand new stereo and original stereo mixes, like every kind of and it's really, really good. It's a classic. It's an absolute classic. I'd like them to do Tubular Bells 2, maybe. The Trevor Horn produced one, because that was quite nice, and that was quite electronic. And of course, Mike went on to use Fairlights and all sorts of things, wonderful things. But he's now retired, I guess. because apparently he started Tubular Bells 4, delivered a piece to the record company and said, here you go, this is kind of where I'm headed. And they were like, yes, great. And then a little while later he said, do you know what? Nah. That's it. I'm not going to do anything else. And he's been silent for the last 5 or 6 years. So, yeah, what a shame. Never mind. The other thing that turned up today and is absolutely essential listening. This is the 40th anniversary. Oh, that makes me feel really old. Malcolm McLaren's Duck Rock. What an album. Sorry, there's a dog outside. Yeah.
That's my job.
This is stunning. It's a really good remaster as well. It was supposed to come out 15 years ago on the 25th anniversary, but legend has it that Richard Branson fell out with Malcolm McLaren and said, I'm never going to reissue anything of yours ever again. So obviously now that Malcolm's passed away, things might have cooled a little. But yeah, that's a really good reissue. And there's promise of a box set. J.J. Yanzalik plays on that. Thomas Dolby plays on that. There's tons of Fairlight and Jupiters and all sorts of things, as well as all of the acoustic stuff that goes on. It's a brilliant sort of... I don't know how you describe it. It's just a brilliant album. Anyway, those arrived this week. I'll tell you what I want to start with. So I'm just turning my lights up a little bit there. Tina Turner. What a loss. Now, you might be thinking, if you're watching, why is a Synthesizer show talking about Tina Turner? Because she was like the queen of rock and roll or the queen of soul.
No, Aretha Franklin is the queen of soul.
Or you could say that, yeah. But, you know, she had a very...
mouth, boy.
Tina Turner was actually able to have this. She had this ability to take soul and rock and gospel and all these other things and kind of cover all bases whilst making it quite a unique thing. But anyway, yeah. So Tina Turner passed away. It's absolutely tragic. I mean, you know, we all knew that she wasn't well, and she was quite happy. You know, she spoke quite often about her lack of fear about passing on, and so, you know, may she now rest in peace. But there is, of course, a strong electronic music connection with her revival that actually brought her to, you know, that mega stardom success. And that was the fact that she got to work with the Heaven 17, or the British Electric Foundation guys, which were Martin Ware and Ian Craig Marsh, on a cover of Ball of Confusion, which was System 100, like all the way through, and a few some distorted guitars. But it was pretty much all System 100. That brought, you know, some attention back, and then they approached the same guys again, this time with Glenn doing backup vocals, to do this wonderful version of Let's Stay Together, produced by Heaven 17, of course. Was a massive, massive hit. I didn't realise until Martin said it on the news the other day that it was, or still is, the biggest selling 12-inch single in the United States. And you know, I mean, that's a pretty impressive statistic. But yeah, her comeback, you could say, was pretty much an electronic revival. But then she moved over into, you know, sort of that kind of classic 80s hair rock kind of thing. But were you a Tina fan at all?
Oh yeah, I mean, she had one blip, which was Thunderdome.
Yeah.
But through association more than anything else, because it was just such an awful film.
It wasn't the best, was it?
No, kind of missed the whole point of what Mad Max was all about. But there you go. So, yeah, no, always a fan. Always a fan.
I saw her live in 1990. She came over. It was the Foreign Affair tour, which was billed as the Farewell tour, which obviously it wasn't, because she carried on touring for at least another 20 years, on and off. And it was the guys from work, where the place I was working, they said, "Oh, Tina Turner's coming." And like, living where I do, we didn't get big name stars ever. Not even at the small venues. It was, you know, out in the middle of nowhere. So when Tina Turner said she was going to come and play the Ipswich Town Stadium at Portman Road, it was like, whoa, we all got very excited and giddy. So in the end, I went, and I'm so glad I did, because, you know, she was utterly amazing. And Michael McDonald was one of the support acts. That was worth it. But yeah, she is
cool.
Yeah, very sad news. Very sad news. But you know, I kind of liked the the fact that her career was revived by, sort of one of the godfathers of British synth music. And maybe when we get Martin on again, and we will get Martin on again, we can maybe talk to him about that, because he has very, very fond memories of that time. So anyway, that's Tina Turner. There we go. Rest in peace, madam. You did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, news. Let's see what we've got on our list. First of all, I guess it's the big news this week. It's the one that's got a lot of people talking, some criticising, some praising, and that is the news, of course, that Ableton have released Push 3, an expressive standalone instrument, which is the key difference here between Pushes 3 and Push 1 and 2. This is a control surface designed to be used either with Ableton software as a controller for the software running on a computer, or it can be used as a standalone, which is the kind of the key thing about this device. It's got MPE capable touch pads. You can move your finger around the pad and bend pitches and send MPE data, and it's all very, very cool. I think Ken Pierce did a great little brief demonstration on the day of release of what this thing was doing with MPE and the pads. It was very clever. But yes, it can be a completely standalone instrument. So what it's got in the standalone version, it's available in standalone and non-standalone versions. In the standalone version, there is an i3 processor. It's basically like a system on a chip thing, sort of thing, that sits and runs in there with an SSD drive. I think it's 256 gig. There's a built-in audio interface that has ADAT as well. And it can sit and run completely standalone of any connection to a computer. The thing that's riled a bunch of people is the fact that when you buy the Push, which retails for about £1,660 something here in the UK, I think it's about €18.99. The version of Ableton that is running on, or the version of Live, that is running on the Push, is the Live Lite version, which I think limits you to about 16 tracks of audio and a few tracks of MIDI or something like that. So if you want to have the full version, the standard version, shall we say, you have to buy. If you haven't already got it, you have to buy it, but you can buy it at a discounted rate. And the same goes for Suite. If you want Live Suite and you don't already own it, you have to buy it, but at a discounted rate. It's got a lovely touch screen, as you can see, or not touch screen. It's got a sort of full color screen above there, lots of controls. I think the rotary knobs also function as joysticks. It seems to be incredibly solidly built. And the non-standalone version is about half the price, but can be upgraded to a standalone version simply by buying the kit, which if you buy a non-standalone version in the kit, you pay a little more. Not a huge amount more, just a little more. And you can upgrade your non-standalone version to a standalone just by adding the kit. And that kit gives you the computer, system on a chip thing, and the drive, and batteries and heat sinks and what have you. So there you go. This is Ableton's Push 3. And as I said, there you go. They're the prices. You can buy $879 for the standard controller version and $1669 for the standalone version, which by all accounts is rather a swish thing. But you can't host your own plugins. You can't host VST plugins or Audio Units plugins. It's just the Ableton instruments at the moment, and it's essentially running on Linux, from what I understand. So before we discuss that, just want to say big thank you to Carl Bate. Apparently we keep him sane. That's brilliant. Glad to be of help, and thank you for your donation. You're more than welcome. So thoughts. What are your initial thoughts on something like this? I mean, you're not really a Paddy type person. You've got an MPC-X, am I right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does something like this appeal? I mean, you don't use Ableton either.
No, I don't even use Ableton. I mean, I understand the controversy behind this being a dedicated controller manufacturer at one point, and the shit I got over that. But I think the best thing about Ableton Push is it allows me to have a really, really brilliant rant with Inky about it for an hour. And for the first time in my life, I go, do you know what? I think I know what Nick Ferrari on LBC feels like now. When a mad woman phones in, sort of thing. No, it was good. It was really good fun. I technically agree with what she says, but I didn't want to agree because it made the rant go on longer. There's nothing like a good argument, isn't there, at 2 o'clock in the morning? So, yeah, I mean, it's a dedicated. So, yes, it's going to exclude people who don't already own and use Ableton, unless they go and no, don't be sorry, darling, it was fun. They'll have to buy Ableton, and that's the bottom line. And that's the whole point of exclusive controllers.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I pondered on, I'm not a live user, so I really don't have any skin in this game. I don't really care. However, I was thinking about who's going to buy the Push 3. And the biggest audience, the biggest proportion, I imagine, because I'm just guessing this, but I imagine the biggest proportion of purchasers of Push 3 will be people who currently already use Ableton Live, and they're now looking to see this as a way to take what they do at home out on the road using a controller and do this live, but then when they get back in
with them.
Without dragging the laptop, and then when they get back home, they can plug it all in and do whatever they want. But this is a kind of a hybrid, shall we say? So, therefore, when you buy Push standalone for $1,669 and it only comes with the Live Lite license, you don't care because you already have Live, and that's it. And once apparently, once you plug it in and register your unit, it sees what you've got, and boom, it just upgrades itself to the version of Live that you own. So for me, I'm thinking, well, if that's the biggest proportion of customers for Push, I mean, Live in itself, I always struggle with it. I'm desperately trying to. I'm actually going to hope. I'm hoping I might even get a copy of Live next week, and I want to really, really try to get on with it. But it's one of those things that just doesn't work with the way my brain works.
Yeah.
No DAW is
it's
universal.
Like the VCS3. Some people love it and other people just stray out the window.
Exactly. And, it's like anything. It's like a pair of shoes or a type of car or a type of computer or whatever. You get, you work with things and they you either get it or you don't. Or you get things more than you do other things. And for me, Live, I keep looking at it and think, I really should get this, but I struggled. I really did. So I've never really sort of invested in it. Yeah. So why then would I then go out and buy the Push, the standalone version, if I'm struggling with Ableton Live as a concept anyway? Because this is going to be an even more what's the word? A very focused version of you're not going to have the benefit of a nice big screen or anything. You've got this all kind of compressed on there. So in my mind, the vast majority of people that are going to be buying this are already registered Ableton users with Live Standard or Live Suite. So that whole argument about it not coming with the complete version kind of goes away, or isn't as.
Yeah, but I can see why some people would want to be able to buy it with the Live already, the full version of Live on it already, and no messing around, and it just off you go. Yeah, I get that,
and you can do that because when you hit the buy button, I'll show. Let me show everyone what. So when you go here, you hit the buy button. So I'm going to buy Push standalone. So I now get an options page. So it's now going to say, configure your Push. So, do you want Push standalone or not? So, I've got Push standalone. And then it says choose your live edition. So intro, it already comes in there. Essential, 16 tracks and 5 gig of sound. That's included. And then you can buy standard version of live at a sort of £80 discount. And with the suite version, it's £130 discount. So, and then of course you've got educational discounts in there as well. So, you know, when you stick that on, I mean, you know, £2,000 for this, and you know, is it too much money? Is it too expensive? I don't know. I mean, it's only too expensive if you can't afford it.
Yeah.
If you can afford it, no, it's so yeah. Wagoo's shouting at me in the chat, and I have no idea why. Probably because it disagrees with something I've said. If I've said something wrong, let me know. But yeah, that's kind of my opinion on it. And of course, the important thing here is you might be getting all antsy about this, but bottom line is you don't have to buy it. You know, there are other controllers.
Other controllers are available.
There are other applications, other sequences, other doors. It's entirely up to you.
I'm just trying to find out what it is that Wagoo says it's not true.
I have no idea. I'm looking through myself. I can't see it in there, but maybe, you know, Wagoo, if you can just tell me. I mean, Wagoo says, I'm not an Ableton owner, but would have been interested in this. And yes, there are going to be a small subset of people that think, you know what, I was thinking about getting Ableton Live, and I see this, and now this really works for me. And then you go to the buy button, and I've now got to pay another 230 quid or something to get the standard version of Live. You know, things are expensive these days, and that's not just a regular 64 pad controller. Those pads are all MPE, and they do some pretty amazing things. The hardware, from what I've heard described, is really solid, and things aren't cheap these days. But there you go.
Have a crafty one on the show.
That's Siri, because I can't see her.
Yeah.
You see.
Come on, smile.
There we go.
Robbie. There you go. There you go. Good girl. She's been helping me in the garden today. It's 3D printers, and yeah, I found 2 CR78s.
How can you just find
2 CR78s with a Fat Man 2, a Matrix 1000, and what was the other thing? A Fab filter in a stack box.
Really? Wow.
No idea.
I'm gonna have to come around and have a rummage. See what I can find. Oh look,
Or,
there's an
and
emulator
you can even look for stuff as well.
Oh yes.
Where is it? Come on.
It's there.
Thank you.
Sorry, wrong page.
I'm here all week. Try the fish.
Indeed. So yeah, I mean, it really has. It's every now and again there's something that comes out that really divides people, and this has really divided people. I was quite surprised. The most contentious thing I found about this, because honestly I really don't care, because I'm not going to be buying one, and I have no intention of getting into that world, other than just maybe trying to learn the software itself. The only thing that concerned me is, why didn't they announce this at Superbooth? You know, or was that a deliberate thing? Let's wait until after Superbooth, otherwise our thing gets swamped. Maybe it's a bit of that, I don't know. But I would have loved to have had a go on this and maybe seen what all the fuss is or isn't about. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's dividing people, but you know, the bottom line is you don't have to buy it. And I'm sure prices will, you know, come down, and people will be doing deals. I'm sure Ableton are probably, I don't know, but they probably will be listening and maybe thinking, okay, well, let's do some versions with this built in, and maybe we discount it a bit more to broaden the user base. Who knows? Yeah, Ben says in the chat, Ben Breslin, this is it's probably a very wise move to announce it after Superbooth, and then the spotlight can be bang on them, which is a very fair point. What I do like
it's about a week, isn't it, after Superbooth? So there's enough time for everybody to, the dust settles, and then go, hey, look at this, fight over this now. Yeah.
One thing I did like about this, forget about the fact that, you know, it does or doesn't come with whatever software you think it should or shouldn't come with. The fact that it is upgradable. So Ableton have said that in, you know, a couple of years when a better version of the chipset that they're using comes out, you can just pop the back off and replace that, and then you'll get a more powerful processor and maybe some more RAM or whatever. Lots of people have been bemoaning the fact that it's an Intel i3 processor, but seem to be forgetting the fact that it's an Intel i3 processor running a Linux operating system, which is hugely more efficient.
Not Windows 11.
And is only doing Ableton and is not doing the email and the web pages and whatever. So
you have to turn it on 2 hours before the show starts.
Exactly. Yeah. Apparently, this has a 45-second boot time, which is not horrible.
No,
it's not horrible at all. But the fact that you can pop it open and upgrade as and when. I mean, how long that's going to go, only time will be able to tell. But they've been working on this for 10 years, apparently. It's a lot of time. And I know
it does seem like a long time to do that.
When Ken Pierce was talking about it on the day of release, because he has some, he had a prototype of this to play around with. He said that over the last however many years, this has been on the go at some point in some shape or form. So it's been a long time coming to get this way, and it makes you wonder whether the initial push, which was collaboration with Akai, was, that was the trigger point. This was always going to be the end game, to have a dedicated controller that could run separately from the thing there. So but it does. Ian Cole in the chat has just made a valid point here that the MPE control seems to be an upgrade on the Linstrument, which was for some while kind of highly regarded as this pad based MPE type controller. So I mean, I think the proof will be in the pudding. We'll have a play with it and see what we all think. But
to be honest with you, I mean, anybody who bought a Rolly Rise right at the beginning will be looking at this going, oh, get over it. You want to see the hoops you needed to bloody jump through to get a Rise up and kicking.
Well, exactly.
In the early days. And, we've got to get that as well. Oh, we've got to do this and we've got to do that. Yeah, okay. Ooh, man.
Yeah. But look, credit to Ableton. They've now got this hybrid device, whether you like it or not. It's a very powerful and useful tool. I'm sure there's a lot of people talking about how wonderful this is and how they're going to use this, and how that it's a great way of detaching yourself from a computer whilst still having the ability to hook it up to one. I kind of if I was a live musician who was using Live a lot, then this would appeal, because I could sit down with it at home in the studio, sort everything out, and then just go unplug it, stick it in my bag, and off I go, and everything's there ready for me to do my thing.
Well, it's definitely a good way of selling more copies of Ableton.
Yes,
it, really.
And of course, they're a business. They're there to make money. They're there to sell their products. So, that's not a newsflash to anyone. So, there we go. Anyway, so Push 3 is out now. It's 1,669 British pounds. I think that equates to about 18.99 in euros, and probably about the same in US. I don't know. If you want the non-standalone version, which can be upgraded to the standalone version, it's £879, and I think the upgrade kit is about the same again. So you pay a little bit over, but it's not like you're not going to get penalised for doing that. So
we're spreading the cost that way.
Yeah, exactly. You could buy a non-standalone and then go out and get the kit. But I think we'll see how successful it is. We'll see how many people end up using it and how much we see of it around. Be interesting to see how many of these appear in EMOMs around the place, because I can imagine that would be quite a useful thing. So But as we said, other controllers, other systems are available. You don't have to buy this one if you don't like it. But it's all good for a bit of a conflab. There we go. Anyway, I still haven't learned why Wagyu was shouting at me in the chat about whatever I got wrong. So if you please let me know, I will correct myself if not necessary. Right, what should we do next? Let's do something a lot less contentious. Unless you're one of the people that commented on the Gear News website about this, which just made me laugh and then just made me sort of bang my head against a wall for a few minutes. This is the news. It's kind of a double bubble thing, this, because it was Dr. Bob Moog's, or would have been Dr. Bob Moog's 89th birthday, I believe, on May the 23rd. Mm-hmm. And to celebrate that, this is the best bit about it. This is Moog Music and the Bob Moog Foundation in partnership have organised another fantastic raffle where all the proceeds will go to the wonderful Bob Moog Foundation, and the prize is a Mini Moog 2022 Model D serial number uno. This is the first, and it's labelled as such, and this is not only a fantastic opportunity to try and win one of these and at the same time support a fantastic charitable cause, but it's also brilliant news because Moog Music and the Bob Moog Foundation are working in partnership again, which is something that hasn't happened for a while, and we won't get into all the politics. But I know that when I was with Michelle back at Superbooth, she took us to one side, me, Ben and Jim, and told us that this was going to happen. And the her whole demeanor, her whole thing about it was just so, she was over the moon. She couldn't believe that this was all happening and it was all kind of getting sorted out. So this is a fantastic opportunity to do two things. One, possibly win serial number one of this fantastic recreation of this classic instrument, but also at the same time support a fantastic organisation that does great work in preserving Bob's legacy and getting it out there to as many people as possible. But also there's the Dr. Bob's Sound School, which works with young people. There's the whole archival project. There's the Moogseum, of course, as well, which is in downtown Asheville, and it's just a fantastic thing. So, they get a lot of these fantastic instruments to raffle off, but I think it's safe to say that this one is probably, well, it's just fantastic, not only because it's been donated by Moog Music to the BMF, but also it's just a brilliant instrument. So there you go. Bob Moog Foundation raffle. Have you bought your usual amount of tickets?
No, not yet. No.
Not yet, but
no.
It will happen, won't it?
It will probably have to happen. Mainly because of the case. See, like the late minis from about, 76, maybe 77, up until about 1980, were made with really, really shit wood. I mean, horrible.
Right.
Which is why they started putting that, that cat diarrhea coloured painted stuff on them, because the wood was just awful. And this is more akin to the earlier, RA Musonic ones. So I'd love to win one, because then I can take the keyboard out and put a proper original mini.
Would you really
keyboard.
do that?
Yeah, I put the original. I love the original Mini Moog keyboard. I mean, man, you can't. No. Yeah. You can't have these light plastic ones in it.
Wow.
So it's got to be. No, it'll be fine as it is, honestly. Yeah,
I bet you'd take the spring out of the pitch bend wheel as well, wouldn't you?
Is it? Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Good God, sir. What do you think this is, a Prodigy? Go away. That's a mod. I've done that mod on so many Prodigies for people.
Yeah.
They go, can you put a spring on it? Yeah. Why? But anyway, no, I do it just to support Michelle.
Yeah.
the one that got away. Bless her. I mean, I've already got a Mini, so I'm fine. I just buy the tickets, and it's just support. Yeah. I mean, if she turned around and said, "Oh, you've won it," I go, "We'll raffle it again. Pretend it didn't happen. Pick another ticket. I don't want it, honestly.
Give it to me."
Yeah. Donate it to somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah. Except I'm sorely tempted simply because of the case on this one. It's like, ooh, that's nice wood, and I love a bit of wood meat.
Apparently, so I've heard.
So yes, it's true.
Anyway, so if you want to stick your hat in the ring, so to speak, then
So close.
Oh, it was. All you got to do, if you just go to moogfoundation.org, you can find the links directly from the homepage there. And I guess it's also on the Moog Music website as well. All the information, all the rules and the regulations, they do ship these internationally. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you win this, they will ensure that it gets to you. So whether you're in deepest, darkest, wherever, you'll get it. You obviously make sure you've got a power supply somewhere. But yeah, you can do that. And I think it's $20 a ticket. $20 a ticket. But if you buy 6, you get those for $100. And if you buy 14, you get those for $200. If you buy 40 tickets, that's a mere $500. And somebody, I won't name names, and I won't shame them on, or maybe I should. Somebody commented when this was posted up on the Gear News site the other day. I've got to buy, £200 of tickets, and to get this, and if I don't win it, then I get nothing in return. And I'm like, what about this? Do you not get? It's a charitable raffle. You're
Entitlement is everywhere, my friend.
I know. Anyway. So there you go. Please do go and support the Bob Moog Foundation. $20 in what in UK money now is, I don't know, it's less than 20. So even if you just buy one ticket, you still could win, but at least you'll be supporting a fantastic foundation that's run by a fantastic lady who does fantastic work. I can't really say fantastic enough when it comes to Michelle. And
one more fantastic just for that.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I wish them all the luck with that, and it's great to see MM and BMF working together again. It's really good because they need to. It has to happen.
It should happen,
and it does, and it has. So yeah, fantastic. So that's Bob Moog Foundation raffle. So go to moogfoundation.org, go and buy your tickets, and if you win, let us know. That would be fantastic. So there you go. Yeah. Right, what should we do next? Let's have a look. Oh, do you know this? No, I didn't put this one on the list because this kind of came out last minute. But I'm going to do it now just to get it out of the way because it's bonkers and it actually makes my head hurt. Let's show the video first because, it's... Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure what to make of this. So let's do this. stop it for the adverts kick in there. I honestly don't know what to say about that.
If you get into the bath with a memory Moog, you get that. I must admit, now the fourth one, I quite like that fourth thing that he was doing, because there was some sort of regular beat there that you could follow. And
Yeah, because my brain was
leaning. Yeah, it was leaning towards some sort of like musical context, where the other ones were just R2D2 falling down the stairs and stuff like that. But it's all, yeah. I mean, it's cool. It's mental box.
So I saw this and I thought, visually it hurts my head already, because it looked like somebody thrown a whole bunch of things up in the air and just got, and that's it, and that's where they stood. And then I sort of read up about it, and so I'm just going to bring this up because I want to put the name on screen because I find it difficult to pronounce. It's the Chokralski cells. I think I might have pronounced that correctly. I don't know. It's a complex. That's one way of describing it. Percussion adventure. It's a configurable 6 or 7 voice electronic drum instrument, although there weren't many drum sounds going on there. It extracts polyrhythms, timbres, and spectra from semiconductors and circuits. The name comes from a process created by a Polish chemist of that name, which is a method of crystal growth used to obtain single crystals and silicon for semiconductors. So there is a method, or a reason, should I say, to the method. And there's really not much else about it other than this video. It's made by a company called Destiny Plus, which does stand for something, and it was on the screen at the time. But they've got lots of other things, very Buchler-esque stuff, like this 16 Psyche thing, which, again, I look at it and go, huh? What the hell is it? What does it do? Is there, do you just plug things into anything and wait until you get something? Is that it? I don't know. Asiohead in the chat thinks this is really, really good and is very cool. And I don't doubt that it's probably a very clever thing. It hurts my head. Hurts my ears as well. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's
it's basically a Pulsar 23 with piles. Isn't it? It's I mean, you can hear it when he's playing the various clips. You can hear a lot of how it was constructed, where the clock is like accessing things like reverb or flanger amounts and doing this, that, and the other, and bouncing around all over the place. I mean, you could make that very musical if you wanted to, but if you want to make it absolutely batshit crazy, you can.
Yeah.
And I challenge anybody to do that with a TR-606.
Well, indeed.
There you go.
There is an audience for this somewhere. It might not be a very large audience, but there's an audience nonetheless. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have made it. But yeah, I mean, it's bonkers, absolutely bonkers. It has several through zero oscillators with multiple waveforms, envelopes, LFOs, gates, and drum cells, complex arrangements of logic and modulation, a multiplex gate pulse network, and a dual 20-stage phaser. There you go, and that's what you get. And there's 4 dirty great joysticks in the middle of things there. I have no idea what they do.
Anything that you patch them to,
I suppose, yeah.
To give you XY control.
But I mean, aside from the sound that it was making, I almost used the word noise there, and it's probably more akin to that in my ears than anything else. I look at the panel, I just can't see. I'm looking for patterns. I'm looking for logic. I'm looking for this. Clearly tells me this is where I've got to go, and yet all I see are loads of just like what's a seemingly randomly placed patch points and
you got to get with the kids, man.
But the nomenclature is just like it looks like algebra and algorithms, and maybe this is just for a very particular type of person that is inclined to gravitate towards this. It's very odd.
It's cool. It's cool. It looks like a nightmare to use.
Yeah.
But I think the whole point of this is you're not going to discover things if it's very easy
absolutely.
to follow, because you will mentally use your hindbrain to follow a particular process, which will lead you to exactly the same place that you were the time before. Whereas if it's like nuts, you're going to find stuff you didn't know you were looking for.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, it's pretty
And I
cool.
wouldn't be
like
at all
it.
surprised if at some point in the future, if this gets made, because at the moment you can't buy this, there's no other information on this.
Yeah.
What Robin was actually able to extract in here was about as much as you could get. But it wouldn't surprise me at all that in the future, if this does get made, you'll probably see smaller versions that do certain parts of what this does. And maybe it will push towards something that's a bit more usable, a bit more, well, yeah, I say usable, a bit more widely accepted. I don't know. It was bonkers. I just thought it was absolutely bonkers.
I mean, admittedly, at one time a day I would have poo-pooed this and said, "Oh, shit, this is just a pile of crap. What the fuck?" But that's not the case now, because since I've been exposed to things like Soma's Lyra, Pulsar 23, Pipe, Cosmos, and messed with them a bit, and go,
yeah,
I get it. Yeah, I get it. I see what it's about. Being able to go and find something that you're not going to find anywhere else.
exactly. As exactly I was just saying.
And this is even better
yeah.
than the Pulsar for that, by the looks of things, because it is absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
And it can be a good thing.
Yeah. It has its place.
Yeah.
It's just not here. Not
If you want to sound like a CS80,
yeah, get a CSA.
get a CS80. Yeah.
Indeed. So that's and I'm hoping, again, the Czochralski cells. I apologise to anybody that's Polish if I've messed that up. The only information that I can find outside of, well, I can't really find anything outside of the Gear News article. So if you want to go to gearnews.com and look in the synth section, you'll find Robin's little article there. There is a website for Destiny Plus where you can get in touch with these people, but there's no real information. There's a picture and a bit of a description about it, but a couple of videos, that's it. So get in touch with them and see what you can find.
Yeah, but it'd be nice to see this actually come to fruition.
Yeah.
I suppose it's based around, if they can get enough people interested, and then they can go ahead.
Yeah.
Based on, even partial pre-order.
See what the cost is. I think that's that has been the first thing that a lot of people say. How much is it going to be?
Well, it's going to be a few quid, isn't it? Because it's not something that's going to be built in China.
No.
It's going to have to be probably hand built in the guy's kitchen. So it's not going to be cheap, but you're going to get a real mental box. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And there you go. So that is I'm not, it's that thing that makes lots of noise. And it comes from Destiny Plus,
thingy.
and their website is destiny-plus.com. So go and check it out, and if you're interested, drop them a line, because I'm sure they would love to hear from you. So that's that. There has been another new piece of hardware that was announced today, and I've just locked myself out of my screen. Let's bring this up into here. We'll do at the beginning of the little promo video, which was more than just a bit tongue in cheek, and I was actually more happy, I guess, to see this guy doing videos for this company again, because he seemed to have vanished off the face of the earth, and he'd wonder whether he'd been, bumped off or something. Yeah, but here we go. This is the Behringer Edge, which is going to be in shops.
Supreme beings of the analog verse, show me a sign. What synth should I cover next? If you can hear me, supreme edgelords of the analog verse, give me a sign. What synth should I cover next?
Little earthling, behold.
Whoa! Ah, it's the Edge. I always wanted to play with one of these.
Now go forth and make video.
Yeah, right on it. Hey, when are these going to be available?
Very soon, we will relay final model when Comet 1P reaches its closest point to your galaxy's G-type main sequence star. It's in July
Oh, cool. So finally, everyone's going to be able to go and get...
2061.
So the Behringer Edge has finally made it out of the factory. Let's hear some of the things that it can do. Let's just skip forward a little bit
This
here.
thing has some serious range in its own right. It's case you got the dual voice oscillator section here on the left.
Come on, give us a demo. There we go. So this is a dual oscillator with a noise generator, filter, 8-step sequencer, which apparently goes up to 10,000 BPM. 15 patch points, MIDI in, MIDI out, USB, whole bunch of stuff, and is essentially their take on the Moog DFAM, Drummer for Another Mother. It's kind of billed as a drum type unit, but of course it can do some pretty deep bass lines, and you know what, it doesn't sound half bad. Go and check the video. I'm not going to show the whole thing. It's over 7.5 minutes long, but it's nice to see that guy back because I thought he'd gone. Maybe we'll see Anna back as well. Who knows? This is 159 quid and is available to be ordered like right now from actual shops, not just something that's coming down the line from the factory. I did kind of like the little joke there, the in-joke about, when's it coming? Oh, it's coming in July. We're 2061. But no, apparently it's coming July this year. So you can actually order this now. And it should be in your hands within about 4 to 6 weeks. 159 quid for something like this, though, isn't bad, really, is it? It's a nice little box and will play nicely with the other one that they did, the yellow one, which was the Crave, I believe. So, yeah, any thoughts on this?
No, not really.
No, okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to sell like hotcakes, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's cheap and cheerful. Does the job. Yeah, it's all right. Stinky, work well.
Yeah.
Out and about and at home.
That's it, yeah. It's an interesting... It's a bit more musical than our last thing. But, yeah.
But, yeah, no, absolutely. No, it's fine. Absolutely.
Yeah.
When Behringer do finally... sorry, I can't say Behringer without... Sorry. That company release something, it's normally pretty cool,
Mm-hmm.
Thank God it's cheap, because it'd be broken in 6 months, you have to buy another one. But, yeah, they're making stuff that's making good sounds. It's putting it in the hands of the kids, as they say. And, yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely. 159 quid, you can't really argue with that
Exactly.
for a 2-oscillator little desktop thing. Especially when you consider that the machine that is inspiring it, and I have to, give credit where credit's due. Yes, look, everyone's saying, oh, it's just, Behringer's version of the DFAM. Well, at least this doesn't look like a DFAM, and it's not blatantly ripping off everything about that product, which is something that, whether you love or hate Behringer, they do that, and it's not very cool. But something like this is a little bit more acceptable, a little bit more palatable. And if this sort of thing is up your street, then yeah. And I think I'm not into the modular thing as well, but the fact that you've got all those patch points and you can then start messing around and hooking it up with other things, and you can get into that whole kind of semi-modular thing for not a lot of money. Yeah. It's got to be a good thing for a whole bunch of people. So yeah,
that's the whole point, isn't it? It's because they do when they do deliver something. Yeah, it does does what it says on the tin, and it works.
Yeah.
And it has that and the pricing, of course,
Yeah.
which always works, and it's it's a trademark of of that company.
I must admit, I do like the 10,000 BPM tempo,
Yeah, you should.
because you get into audio rate when you get to
Yeah, because I was just thinking you'd be able to use each section as a frequency point, so you'd be able to produce a multi-frequency drone with it.
yeah.
that would probably attract cats.
But let's not forget, let's not forget that we had the video from Dan with his fantastic hair a year ago. This is the new Behringer Edge. And here we are 1 whole year later, and it's now allegedly, and I'm going to say that there up front, allegedly in the hands of dealers rather than, it's shipping from the factory. It's actually in the hands of dealers. So it's taken a whole year. That bit, it worries me for a company that boasts their own chip manufacturing, how slow they are in getting up there. But hey, I know somebody I think Behringer teased the front, the cat on the what looked like a Surge. I'm not entirely sure. It looked like a Surge, and people were saying,
"Did you sound actually?"
He said, "Oh look, Behringer are going to bring out a Surge," but it turns out it's just the announcement of the Crave. Yeah, and of course, as Matt points out, 1 year ago, of course, Andy Fletcher passed away, which was that's just a year already since that happened. Yeah. Time flies, tempus fugit, and all that stuff. So there you go. Behringer Edge is available almost now, which is a cool thing. Almost now. I want to see people actually unboxing and having it in their hands, and then we say yes, it's out there, for sure. So there you go. Behringer Edge. Right, let's see. We've got some comments here. Oh, thank you very much, Steve. Despite 2 trips to Anderton's this week, I found a $5 down the back of the sofa for the cause. Thank you very much indeed. It is much appreciated. Thank you very much.
Excellent.
Let's see what else we've got here. Right, okay. That's the Behringer bomb. That's out of the way. If you want to get a comparison, by the way, between the Edge and the DFAM, then one of the guys over, actually I think it was Gear News in Germany, and there's a translation on the English site, has done a comparison video. Marcus, who if you were at Superbooth you might have met wandering around. He's one of these people. He looks like he's just come out of a factory where they make perfect human beings. He's just kind of got perfect shaped head and perfect skin and everything. But he's a lovely guy, and he's done this comparison video with an Edge versus the DFAM. No talking, just sound. So go and have a look for that. If you go to the gearnews.com website, you'll be able to find that within the article there. Right. Let's talk software before we come back to a couple of other bits here. So our friend Paulie Alex Bow has put out a new video, and it's great, and I'm going to play it because, like our friend Nick over at Sonic State, we do love the theme tune for this. I'm just trying to find the goddamn tab. Oh, there it is. Let's play this simply so that we can hear the theme tune, which goes a little something. Let's turn the volume up like this. Magical synth adventure. Oh, love it. So
sometimes people ask me, Paulie, why are you always going on about the Commodore Amiga?
I ask him that all the time.
1995, I think I got my Amiga for £100, which I got it for second hand. It was something that like a 13-year-old could sample on. I can route those samples through like filters and wave shapers and things like that. I've got my tracker going behind me, by the way.
Nice.
Let's see the nails. Oh my god.
There's plenty of deserving vintage computer platforms after all, and many of them feature interesting musical possibilities. But for me, none of them offer quite the range of exciting audio opportunities as the Amiga.
Anyway, it's a good half-hour video where Paulie goes through and talks about synthesizers and musical creation tools on the Commodore Amiga. So if you are of that generation, which I mean, I kind of passed me by a bit because I was like the generation before Commodores and Spectrums and that kind of thing. And when I got when I say Commodore 64s, by the time the Amigas and the Ataris and all came out, I was like not really into computers that much. And then I ended up working or doing some stuff in the studio where they'd got an Atari ST, and I saw the sequencing software. I saw Cubase on there, and I was like, there you go, that's what I want. And kind of then started to get back into it, and then came back into PCs. But this is a really, really interesting, educational and fun video, as Paulie is inclined to make. And they've done a fantastic job here. They've spent a lot of time on this. Not least, let me just try and find it here. So they've actually made a meme out of me. They've memed me. Where was it? Was it about here? Something? Yeah, it was about here. Let's see. Again, trackers. Never really got into trackers. That was never. I look at those and they just do my head in. Sensi Soccer. That was a good game though. Oh, it's bells. It's bells.
Here we go.
And there
Easy.
I am. I've never been made into a meme before.
Me.
So there you go. That was quite funny. But yeah, I like the association there with the FM synthesizer. But did you get a chance to watch this at all?
No, I didn't see this. No.
It's very good, and it's, so there's a lot of nostalgia in here, and Paulie knows his stuff about these things, and so it's a very, very educational video. I didn't realize half of these things existed. I mean, a lot of these instruments back then could generate a sound, and then to actually play it, it would then sample. You create a sample, and then you could play the sample rather than playing the instrument live. But yeah, it's a very educational, entertaining. To see lots of vintage computer systems and programs, and boxes of old hardware. I love that. So yeah, go to Magical Synth Adventure on the YouTubes and go and take a look at that. It's half an hour of your time well spent. We've got long weekends here in the UK and the US. I don't know about the rest of the world, but that's half an hour of your time well spent. Yeah, there you go. Magical Synth Adventure, the spectacular soft synths of the Commodore Amiga. Which I know that phrase did wind a few people up because they're not, I guess, what's the definition of a soft synth? Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Right. Well, we're kind of burning through some of the topics here. We've got we haven't got Ben to natter away. We do miss him. Hopefully he'll be back next week. If anybody is wondering, by the way, Ben is gigging again, but he's now gigging north of the border in Scotland, so it's a bit of a trek even for him to get up there. So hope he's doing okay, and I'm sure he'll be watching either in the dressing room or on catch-up at some point. Let's do this one next. It is, what with NAMM being in April and Superbooth being in May, and we've got Gearfest in July. We've got obviously Synthfest UK happening in October. There is a repeat of an event that I do like to go to, and I thought I would just put it out there now because tickets are on sale. And that is the Synthesized event, which takes place in Cambridge in the UK, and not the one in Massachusetts. But it takes place at the Centre for Computing History, which is a fantastic little place where the guy that runs it has probably the biggest collection of vintage computers, pretty much one of everything. Almost, certainly from a domestic commercial perspective. It's just an incredible place. They've even got like rooms recreated from the 70s with the old computer systems that used to punch cards and all that kind of stuff. And lots of other things besides. There's you've got Sinclair C5s there, and other things, including synthesizers and games consoles and all of that kind of stuff. It's a really great venue, great for a family day out. And also, he supplies vintage technology for films and TV. So there's lots of Hollywood films that feature his equipment, TV shows. I mean, I guess the best point of reference is the IT crowd, where all of that stuff that's behind the guys in their little underground office is all from this place. It's huge amount of stuff. But once a year, but on 2 days, get that right, they do this thing called Synthesize, which is organised by one of the people that volunteer there, Tony Jewell, and he's been running it now for a few years. Obviously, it didn't run over COVID, but came back last year and was very well attended. And you can buy a ticket for the day for 10 quid. There are concessions and children prices and a family discount as well, which I believe is 2 adults, 2 children. And you can either come on Saturday the 1st of July or Sunday the 2nd. There is parking on site, but to give you a flavour of what has been there before, so let's just bring these up here. So this was Stock Aitken and Waterman's PPG system, the very same with a Wave 2.3, a Wave Term A/B, and the processor keyboard as well. And he had that. There's just a guy called Barney from Liverpool. He had that up and running, and it sounded amazing. Jeez, it was moving a lot of air. It was just sounded amazing. Oh, look, there's a Fairlight. I wonder who took that one. So I've attended most years with a Fairlight, but I'm not bringing the Fairlight this year. ARP 2600s. There's Liam Fretwell on the left-hand side of the picture just there. He's a frequenter of our Facebook group. The guy in the blue t-shirt with the modal stuff, that is Chris Strellis. Again, he's another guy that spends time in our group. Paul Soulsby often goes from Soulsby Synthesizers and takes whatever he's got going there. Oh, look, there's a Yamaha CX5M, lots of modular, old drum machines. That's John Malloy on the left there, who sadly is no longer with us, but he was part of Mainframe, a kind of a niche British electronic music act that did some stuff, taking the mickey out of Art of Noise, which was rather funny. Sadly, he passed away not long after he came to the show, which was a shame. And he came to the show because, as you see on the right-hand side there, on that picture, just behind the Arturia KeyLab, it is a Greengate DS3, I believe, which was a British sampler, from back in the day. Oh, look, there's an Emax 2 again. That was mine from last year. So this year I should be going along, and I'm not entirely sure if the DX1 is going to make it. I just don't like to move it. But what I will be taking this year, if anybody is interested, is I'll be taking the YCAMS rig, which is the Yamaha Computer Assisted Music System, which is a TX816, a QX1, and an RX11 drum machine, along with a DX7. And our friend Simon Alexander has loaned me a copy of the demonstration package that the reps went out with back in the day, and it's got some great stuff on there, so I'll be demonstrating that. And I might bring some other things. Bob Pearson's going to be there, who was the former sales director for Cheetah, and he'll be bringing a whole bunch of old Cheetah equipment along. Liam will be back again. The Greengate DS4 will be on display. Tony Jewell will be bringing some of his stuff along. Chris Strellis will be back there. Sheila Dixon, aka Shirley Knott, who does some wonderful things with wind controllers and other things. She's going to be there, and more exhibitors are going to be added as the time goes by. So if you're going to be in the Cambridge area on the 1st or the 2nd of July, we would love to see you. Culture of Ghosts in the chat says, does Simon Benifer ever go to these? Does he ever? He's always there, and he's like a kid in a sweet shop. He's always around, banging out something or other on a keyboard. I think he actually last year he snuck it in. He's got what's the Korg that OMD used that Ben's got one of? What is that again?
The 700.
No, the micro preset. Micro preset.
All right.
He said, "Oh, I'll just go and bring my micro preset," and he brought his micro preset, and he's obviously playing Enola Gay and stuff on that. It's great fun. It's all good fun, and it's a small event, so therefore it's not too noisy, and you meet some really good people there. And so Cambridge. It's all the addresses and details are on the website, which is computinghistory.org.uk. I'm sure the guys have put the link in the chat. Buy your tickets there, and hopefully I will see you there with whatever I can manage to fling in the boot and bring over. It's not too far from here, so I'm not too worried, but we shall see. Need to do a little bit of work on the old girl first. Right. And of course, don't forget also, Gearfest is 2 weeks after this, in the middle of July, so the middle weekend in July, and that's a 2-day event this time as well. And then of course Synthfest is rapidly approaching. I'm doing a seminar at Synthfest with Manny Fernandez, and that's going to be celebrating the 40th anniversary of the greatest synthesizer of all time.
What, the CSA?
Yeah. No.
It's not the 40th anniversary though.
Actually, the 40th birthday of the DX7 is officially on Monday, the 29th of May.
Wow.
That's the first day.
God, I feel old.
Yeah. So we've got the wonderful Manny Fernandez coming to Synthfest this year.
Brilliant.
So he and I are going to both be up on stage with some great examples of FM machinery. So the TX816 will be there, the DX7 is going to be there. Obviously, it's the birthday girl. And we'll have some more modern examples as well. And Manny's going to be demonstrating some of his Ninja programming skills, particularly a fantastic grand piano. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to spoil it, don't want to steal his thunder, but thankfully I'll probably just be up there for 15 minutes and just hand the rest over to Manny. He doesn't know it yet, even though he is in the chat room. He's way more interesting than me. So that's what we'll probably do. So yes, bring your doorbell jokes as well. We'll have a great time in Sheffield, the first full weekend in October. Oh, yeah, don't be going there in August because we won't be there. So looking forward to that. Lots of shows coming up. And then, Synthplex, that's another one that I've got to look into. I don't think the dates have been announced, but it's usually at the end of October. So I'll see if that can happen. That'll be a nice weekend away. Right. Bit of software news. And it's a bit of free software news. Initially was useful to those with old vintage synthesizers, which is why I first got into it, but is now servicing newer machines. And this isn't a very pretty web page, this is a GitHub page, but a guy called Sean Luke produces a piece of software called Edison, Edisyn, and it is a completely free patch editor for an ever-increasing range of hardware synthesizers, and that list is now coming onto your screen. But look what's second in that list. It's only the Hydrasynth. So this has now got full Hydrasynth editing capabilities in single mode only. So if you've got a deluxe, then you can only sort of direct this at one half of the synth at a time.
That's fair.
But full ASM Hydrasynth editing capability. This works with the Explorer and the standard version, of course, the deluxe version as well, which I thought was a very interesting, bold move to sort of come out there with an editor for a fairly modern computer. It's a very simple interface. You can see the interface just there. It's very flat. Which I think a lot of people would appreciate because it's not loads of wonderful skeuomorphic 3D graphics. It's just very basic, very simple. The styling goes across the board. And as Manny says, and this is one of the reasons I got into it, the FS1R is catered for in here, which of course absolutely needs something like this, and it is very good. But if we have a look at, Keith's comment up there. So Alesis D4 and DM5 Hydrasynth, audio thingies, Micro Monster, pretty much all of the Casio CZ series, DSI Prophet, Tetra Mofo, all versions of the Mofo there as well. Loads of old Emu stuff, Planet Fat, Orbit, Vintage Keys, Proteus 2000, all of those modules. Kawai K1, K1M, K1R, K4, K5, Microcore, Microsampler, Wave Station, Volkers, M Audio Venoms, Oberheim Matrix 6, 6R and 1000, Roland D110, JV80, JV880, U110, U20, Sequential Prophet Rev 2, a whole bunch of Waldorf stuff in there as well. Pretty much the entire DX7 6-operator family, so TX7, DX7, 802, 216, 816, even the Korg Volker FM DexEd, although quite why you'd want to edit DexEd with this. Maybe you just design your patches. I don't know. DX200, DX9, 21, 27, all, yeah, I mean, FS1 RFB01, TG33, SY22 and 35, which I found very useful with mine. And you can do general stuff as well.
General genetics.
Yeah. It's completely free. And why more people don't rave about this, it's beyond me. I know that obviously it's only going to be people that own that equipment. But yeah, if you are a retro gearhead, a bit like me, something like this is really blooming useful. Really useful, especially when it doesn't cost you anything. And Sean is really responsive to a lot of feedback, and he will, if you have something you want to suggest, he'll take it on. And if you have maybe equipment that you'd like him to support, you can work with him and do that stuff. So it's github.com /ECLab/Edison. And again, I'm sure the guys in the chat will stick that up. In fact, let me just grab that and I'll put it in there myself. I'm hoping it allows me to do this because I should do. I've got admin rights, haven't I? There you go. Go and grab that, and if you can, I'm not sure if he takes donations on the page, but if he does,
but also beware Windows users. That's a recurring motif,
isn't it? So it works on Mac, Windows, and Linux. I've never tried it on anything but a Mac.
Yeah.
So
apparently it's fun on Macs and Linux, but not so hot.
Not so much on Windows.
Yeah, it's not.
I believe that the following.
Windows fault.
A statement that says, "I believe that the following should work." Because it runs on Java. But yeah, there you go. I just thought, Java crashing on Windows. There we go.
Yeah,
I'll leave that to you, Windows guys. I'm afraid I have no skin in that game.
I'm jumping ship.
Yes, indeed. Don't blame you. But free bit of software, and a useful free bit of software as well. So absolutely. If you have a bit of old gear and some new gear, Hydrosynth, I mean, blimey, there's an audience for you right there. Give it a go, Kent. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, I think it's...
Because I'm like one of the few people on this planet that doesn't have a Hydrosynth. So I can't really tell. But yeah, Edison, I've been using it now, particularly with things like the FS1R and the SY22, which was an interesting thing to mess around with. But yeah, get some really cool stuff with that. So there you go. The last bit of news that we have, it's not very exciting, really. But if you're in the market for a new controller, Arturia have just released the Axel Hartmann designed KeyLab Essentials Mark III in 49 and 61 note varieties, which retail for €200 and €250, give or take, respectively. They're available in black and white. I kind of like these because they are very simple, very basic, do exactly what they say on the tin. But when I say simple and basic, you get 8 pads, you get transport controls, you get this lovely little console in the middle, which looks like an old iPod, doesn't it, with a big silver knob in the middle. 8 sliders, 8 knobs, USB-C, standard MIDI 5 pins, a really decent key bed compared to what they used to have in the early days, and a very affordable price. And of course it comes with, I believe, what's the included software, so you should get Analog Lab in there, which is kind of like the best of. So you get Analog Lab V, which is like a best of the V collection. You get UVI's Model D, which is not the Moog, it's a piano. You get a Melodics subscription in there, a Loop Cloud subscription. You get Native Instruments, the Gentleman, which I believe is also a piano as well, and you get a Live Light license thrown in for good measure. So it's pretty much everything you need to kind of get moving, with a bit of performance in there as well. And Analog Lab V is worth the money on its own. It's a cracking piece of software, that. And yeah, those are all available. All these pieces of software and these kits. I think the subscriptions are like 2 or 3 month subscriptions to some of those services. But again, really great value. And if you're gigging and maybe the venues that you gig at are a little bit rough, then this is the sort of controller you want to buy, because it's only a couple of £100. You could probably do another gig and pay for another one if you wanted to. But yeah, it's a nice little thing. Say 4961. There's no 88 note version of this. But if these, I got one of these, which uses the same design cues as. Let me just turn that off there. So this is the Minilab 3, which is, again, it has the same level of connectivity at the back. So standard 5-pin, and you've got a pedal switch and a USB-C in there as well. It's got the mini keys, and it's got 8 pads, 8 rotaries, 4 faders. The benefit, of course, with the Arturia controllers is that... Whoops, hit the microphone. The benefit of the Arturia controllers is that when you connect it to Arturia software, it automatically maps, and you get visual feedback on the screen of the controller from the plugin, and vice versa. Yeah. So it's a nice thing. So not particularly exciting, but it's a nice little controller. If you're in the market for something affordable, Arturia do some very, very good stuff. Anything you want to say about that?
No, it's a controller. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like so many other controllers, essentially, because the controller market is really, really sewn up now.
Oh yeah,
and the industry standard is upon us. So.
Indeed, yeah.
So,
no Wagyu. There's no poly aftertouch. No, not at that price point.
And I've got controllers coming out of the wazoo here.
Yeah, well, I've got 2 in the garage now that I just don't use them. And that actually is an Arturia. It was the Mark 1 KeyLab, the KeyLab 61.
Yeah.
Which I think I've told the story many a time, that the keybed on that was dreadful. I don't know what the technical term is for the little pegs that stop the key going above where it should. It's where the key...
Stop pins.
Yeah. So those...
There you go.
...were plastic.
Yeah.
And there's moulded plastic, and the bit where it goes from right angles like that was just so weak. And sometimes it would happen when you were playing it, but other times you'd be sat there and you just at the corner of your eye, you see that a key just go bing, and it would just do it. And I think I repaired about a dozen of those, and it actually got to a point where I thought, I'm just going to snap every single one off and then stick it back on with super glue, because that's clearly going to be a lot stronger than what the original plastic was.
Yeah.
But I then found that I needed the space, and that I didn't really need that and the MPK that I'd got, the MPK 49. And that's when the Mini Freak came in and sort of became my desk controller, so I could control the rest of this from here. So, but yeah, that little one is actually really well built. So that's the Mini. Now it's basically the same sort of thing, but it's got slidey. It's got touch sliders for the wheels. But yeah, can't really get too excited about controllers. But there you go. If you're in the market, Arturia are there, and it gets you into their little ecosystem, which is very nice. And so we now got to fill for 28 minutes.
Get your clothes off.
That's it. Well, no, we want to maintain our... I'm amazed that we've maintained our audience on such little news as it was. So let me
that's
see.
The anticipation of you taking your clothes off.
Yeah.
Roll up.
Yeah. Well, that's just me. Roll up. Maybe we could field some questions from our audience. If you have a question for us, do stick it into the chat. Make sure you put a big capital Q at the front of it so we can pick it out. If you'd like to ask Kent something, or me, if there's anything you think I should... David Serchek has suggested we talk about modular. No, because I don't know much about it.
Well, technically you do, because, like, take something like, let's see, let's have a look around here. Take the Hydrosynth.
Okay,
right?
I will.
Break it down into it. Yeah, break it down into its components. It has VCOs. It has VCOs.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. That's modules.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
There you go. There's your modular
Yeah,
discussion.
we've talked about modular now.
Manny says just put the hold music on. Do you see? I put that video up in the group the other day, which is this the world's most famous hold music that was used on the Cisco systems.
Oh yes.
IP phone, and it's a DX7 Mark II using sounds that were programmed by Manny, and it was a Roland drum machine. I can't remember which now. I'm sure somebody will pop it in there, and an Alesis MIDI verb. And the story of that was quite fascinating. That these two guys created this piece of music, or I think one guy created it, and his friend went to work at Cisco, and they were looking for some music to use as music on hold, and he remembered this tune that he and his mate had done, and so he offered it up, and they took it, and then it became like this. It's this culturally significant touchstone point in many people's lives, because if you ever called a company and you got put on hold, invariably you would hear that music. Andy Synth Addict says it's the bane of the life of all IT workers, but it's actually, when you listen to the tune, it's not a bad piece of music. It's simple.
It's when you're hearing it for the 200th time.
Exactly. Yeah. Recently used in a Super Bowl ad, I believe, for that thing that they call beer, which isn't really beer, but it has it on the can. Bud
Super
Light.
Bowl ad.
Yeah, it was a Super Bowl.
Clearly the money was not available.
Yeah. So
Normally go all out, don't they, for them?
Yes, indeed. We've got a question.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I've just had a quick look at it, and I don't think we have an answer. Has there been any news on the Korg WaveState SE? That's a very good question, to which all I can say is, all I've heard is that it's no longer on anybody's roadmap, or should I say Korg's roadmap. I do not have anything more, but no inside information on that one, which is strange, because they kind of got to a point, they clearly got one that they built, a prototype. They'd made videos about it. I Sing the Body Electric saying, what's SE about it? Well, according to the spiel at the time, it's a 61-note key version, and has aftertouch in the keyboard, and all of the patches were reprogrammed to respond to aftertouch. And I believe those patches now exist in the current, the standard wave state. But of course, you need to trigger the aftertouch from an external keyboard, because it doesn't have it built in. As I say, I was going to go to our resident Korg distributor in the chat, and all he says is nope. So I guess that's nope. It's not going to happen, unless you want to clarify that, Ian. But yeah,
it's been Behringerized.
Yeah, it's just gone up in smoke.
Yeah.
It's weird that, because they did, before they announced the Op6, which was the first of those three platform type machines, they teased it at NAMM, I forget which year it was, and it was a 61-note version, and they had it up on their wall, and it generated a lot of buzz, not least with myself, because you had this 61-note keyboard, and it had FM algorithms printed on the surface, and I thought, oh, and then when they brought it out, it was this little 37-note thing. So
Many a slip between cup and lip.
Indeed. So, well, Asio wants to know when Hans is dropping by.
He's there.
He's there. He's always
He's
been
always
there.
there. He's a
here
regular.
every week.
God, do you not notice him? I've got to stand up. If I go up, the camera will go up. There he is.
Similarly, is Hans scheduled to be on the show after Martin Gore or Vince Clarke? Can't seem to remember. Yeah, that scheduling.
I think it's after the comet.
After the comet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before the end of time. Although that. Oh man,
Depends on the comet.
I'd love to get Martin Gore on. I can tell you that we have got Flo Sabeva, who is the current centerpiece of Heaven 17's live act. She runs pretty much the show. She does the job that Berenice Scott was doing previously. She's definitely coming on the show, and that's going to be next month. Literally only about 3 or 4 weeks away, I hope. I just want to confirm the date before we sort of make it public. I spoke to Mick McNeil from Simple Minds day before yesterday, and I said, I'll only talk to you if you come back on the show. So he's coming back on the show. Again, we've got to firm up some dates. Icing the Body Electric was asking about David Gamson. Still working on that one. We were going to have him. He had to pull out last minute, which was a big shame. But we do have, still have contact, so hopefully that'll happen fairly soon. Do we have? Where is it? There we go. Prometheus was saying, do we have any other famous vintage guests confirmed? I've been working on a few, and I don't want to say who they are because I don't want to. I don't want to jinx it. Not that I'm too much of a superstitious person. But I don't want to get people's hopes up and then go, I said we could get so and so. Well, yeah, it doesn't. But let's just say that, we've got a few on the boil. So yeah, but lots of people wanted Mick to come on again. So because John Giblin, the former Simple Minds bass player and played with Kate Bush and Peter Gabriel and a whole bunch of other people, he passed away a couple of weeks ago. And Mick did a wonderful musical tribute to him. First of all, he played a track from Street Fighting Years, which was very, very poignant. And then about a few days later, he played a track that John himself had written that had never really kind of gotten used, I think. So that was rather cool. Andy Brooks says, "Come on, get Billy Curry, Paul Humphreys, Chris Franca, or just get the '80s guys on." Yeah, I mean, if you have contacts with these people, put them in touch. I would love to get them on. Who else? Now I was speaking to. No. I don't want to say names, but let's just say that we spoke about the 40th birthday of the DX7. I might have somebody very related to that we've not had on the show before. So I just need to firm these things up. In actual fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend some time this weekend, because I've got an extra day off, throwing out emails and just casting that line out and seeing what comes back. Howard Jones would be amazing, because I think for many people my age, he was probably one of the reasons we all got into synthesizers. Paul Humphreys, again, another one I'd love to have on. This one, Asio Head, I think you may be asking a little bit too much. Although, you never know. She often pops up in the most strange places. I wish she'd pop up here. Love to speak to Kate Bush. She
probably won't remember me, so I can't use that one.
No, well, I could just say, by the way, do you remember that person? And that could work two ways, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Glenn Diamond says, I downloaded a new Krumar Orchestra sample set today. Really impressive for such a cheap cost library, but it only runs in Plugin Guru's Unify. I love Unify. I never really paid it much attention, and then I was on Ranzy's show a while back where he was doing that competition, Spot the Synth, and these people make very, very clever videos of synthesizers very close up with a piece of music in the background. And I guessed at one, and it was right. And so I got a copy of Unify, which is really, really good. really good. So yeah, Crumar Orchestrator. I didn't realise they'd got one after. I can't remember what Crumar Orchestrator sounds like. Was that a string synth? Must
Yeah.
be. Yeah. So interesting that. Here's one. Now, yes, I am in constant communication with Mr. Lindup from Level 42. So there is a plan behind him coming on the show, and things need to coincide. But yes, we hope to have him on the show.
People don't seem to realise the amount of hoops that goes on in the background.
And when you've got somebody
People are
like,
jumping through.
yeah, like Mike is on the road a lot with Level 42, or he's on the road with other people. So yeah. Oh, Uncle Rick! How I would love to get Uncle Rick on the show.
Well, put it this way: one guy I've been trying to get hold of, and he's without beating about the bush. And it'd be all right to say this because I'm not saying his name. Is that yes, he will come on the show if I restore his memory Moog
Well, hurry up.
for free.
Oh, that's a bit much. How
I don't
much
know.
would that cost?
Quite a name. It's quite a name thing. That's the thing.
We've got a little bit in the kitty. That might, you never know.
No, that's all right. I'll cover that. Don't worry.
Okay.
But
Apparently, Ian can drop Billy Curry a message. That would be cool.
yeah.
That would be very cool. Howard Jones and Nick Beggs at the same time. That would be very good because I'm a huge Nick Beggs fan. Ron Mail, of course, Sparks new album out today.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk, hey, that we'd be sat here and Sparks still banging out new albums left, right, and centre.
Yeah. I know. It's mad, isn't it?
Akai Dan, I don't know, because I don't know if I could forgive him for the whole Timberwolf thing. Steve Elbow says, maybe mention the Moog software effects, which are on sale again, $149 instead of $279. In fact, you can get one of them for free if you buy something from Plugin Boutique. I saw passing through my inbox the other day. I can't remember which one it was. It's obviously not one of the the highly desirable ones, but it's one of the Moog plugins you can get. I've got it somewhere.
Here's
So I
one
bought
for
some.
you, Rob.
Go on then.
I've recently bought the Casio's VZ1. Have you tried it compared to the classic vintage FM synths?
I don't think I've ever played a VZ1.
Oh. Good God, a Yamaha you haven't played?
No, it's a Casio, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Do you know what? There's something. It's a conspiracy theory of mine. The Casios are actually Yamahas in disguise.
Could be.
Don't tell anybody.
Could be. No, the only Casio stuff, obviously of the VL tone. I think we all had to go on one of those.
Oh, good God, yeah.
I played in a band where the guy had a CZ5000 and an RZ1 drum machine, and I tried my damnedest to get him to relinquish ownership of that RZ1, and he wouldn't. But I spent a lot of time. I took it home with me because basically when I joined the band, I replaced the Casio RZ1 because that's what they were using, and they wanted a real drummer. But somehow they chose me. So I said, oh, well, seeing as you're not using that drum machine anymore, can I borrow it? And I had it at home for ages, and eventually started to ask for it back. And I was like, oh, go on. Nah, he sold it, and that was that, gone. But yeah, that's about the only stuff. Yeah, Steve says, get Trent Reznor on. Forgive him. Steve, we were chatting earlier today via email. He sent me a link, which is an 8.5-minute compilation of Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails smashing up instruments, mostly DX7s. And forget the fact it's a DX7; it could be any. I just don't get people smashing up instruments. Just doesn't. I remember as a young boy, seeing Pete Townsend whacking a Rickenbacker into the middle of a Marshall stack or something. I was like, why would you do that? It's a beautiful instrument. And So just never understood that sort of thing. Gary Newman, James says James Dyson. Absolutely. And I've actually got a direct contact to Mr. Newman. So I really ought to maybe sort something out there. Michael Boddicker would be a great guest. He would, and that is who I was talking about earlier today when we were talking about possibly going to Synthplex, because my friend is good friends with Michael Boddicker, and he said, I went to see Boddicker today, and we were talking about Synthplex, and are you coming, sort of thing. So that's an interesting little loop. So yes. Ben says they had a VZ1. So are you referring to the VZ1 at Synthesized? I don't remember that. Oh, was that Liam Fretwell who bought that? I think. Oh, maybe that is. Still, I didn't play on it. What was the FZ one? Was that was it FZ1 or FZ10? Was that sampler? That was one of their samplers, wasn't it? I think.
Everything gets a bit fuzzy for me after Jupiter 8.
Yeah, Hohner. I think Hohner did a rebadged version. I seem to recall. Anyway, yeah, lots of names flying up. Question for Kent. Here we go. I've had this quixotic vision of modifying a Roland to replace the joystick with pitch mod wheels. Would such a thing even be possible?
Yes, because essentially your joystick is 2 pots. You simply put the wheels on, take the pots out of the joystick and put the pots onto wheels, and Bob's your auntie.
There you go, Babs. By the way, Babs has been posting some pictures, some historical vintage pictures of her young self. Hello. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay.
Manny says the FZ was a sampler, and Ben has confirmed the FZ10M was a rack FZ1. It's all coming back to me.
Yeah.
How about Douglas McCarthy from Nitzareb? Yeah, good call. Very good call. Mark Reeder would like to come back on the show, so we're going to try and sort that out. Yeah, so lots of good suggestions there, people. Keep them coming. And as I've always said, if you have an in with any of these people, like, you actually know them, or know someone who can, not just a friend of a friend of a friend or whatever, please do let us know. Maybe somebody from the 90s, says X101. Look, hey, actually, you were working on somebody from the 90s, shall we say, whose surname begins with H, whose band begins with O.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Do I
Apparently
think I know
quite
who you
keen. Yeah.
Yeah, quite keen, but,
Busy.
yeah.
This is the thing.
It's like with Hans, because with the world tour that seems to be on and off all year round, getting hands on, it's probably going to be easier to get Keith Emerson on than it is getting hands on at the moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we'll keep working at it. We'll keep working.
Well,
at it.
yeah. I mean, I'm I'm often saying to him, I said, well, what about next Friday? And it's literally what he takes back subliminally has within the context of the sentence, his eyes going as well. But yeah, and he said, well, no, not this week, because we're in, I don't know, Paraguay or wherever it is.
One day
Neptune.
we will get it, and it'll just happen, and
It'll just happen. Yeah, that's the sort of thing.
It will be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, if his up 2600, up 2500 blows up, then I've got
Yeah, exactly. That's what we
need.
need.
I'm not working on that, mate, until you come on the show.
Yeah, if somebody pops over and sticks something in his 2500. Did you see Tony Gallagher posted his twin 2500, except the one on top is only very sparsely populated. And he doesn't. Was it Tony Gallagher? I think it was Tony Gallagher. Oh no, it wasn't Tony Gallagher. It was Tom Carpenter from Analog Solutions. Yeah, lucky thing.
Ah, yes.
Ask Rich Hilton if he can get Nick Rhodes on. You never know. Be interesting.
Oh, one finger, Nick.
Steve Davis.
Yeah.
That would be a good one. Bill Sharp.
Wouldn't it be funny to get him on and then just talk about snooker for 2 hours?
Yeah. So tell me, how do you do a screw back off the red where you can position yourself right behind the black in order to again get the yellow after?
Yeah.
Oh dear, yeah, that would be. No, do you know, it's one of the most bizarre kind of changes of career. You know, you sometimes see sportsmen go and do another sport. You know, like Ian Botham after cricket went and did some football and so on and so forth. But to see a snooker player then turn around and become an absolute modular demigod, it's just because he was a DJ as well, I think. So yeah, it's just bonkers.
Yeah, you never know. Never know what's around the corner.
Indeed. But yeah, lots of potentials I think that we could get in there. So yeah, we did do a modular version of Snooker Loopy. That'd be fun. And I'd love to. And Bab says Andy Partridge. Oh no, that's not Andy Partridge. That's DJ Thundermuscle, whoever DJ Thundermuscle is. Andy Partridge. No, honestly, will you stop moving the chat? There we go. I thought it said Alan Partridge to start with, but yeah, Andy Partridge. He's got some new stuff coming out. Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, Thomas Dolby. Now, Thomas, really busy man. This time of day, for well, I don't know. I think he's still at the university. Was it the Johns Hopkins University in America? So he's probably in the middle of a lecture or something. I don't know.
Well, it was the same with chasing down, trying to trace down Matt Berry to a date.
Yeah.
Well, also incredibly bizarre.
Yes. I think we've just been so damn lucky in the past to get a lot of really amazing people.
Well, it's such a teeny tiny little show, really. Come on, let's face it. We're not Sonic State or anything like that, are we? Because 9 times out of 10, you say, "Oh, you come on. You ever seen Pro Synth Network?" No. Okay. One day somebody will come to the door and go, "Oh yes, I have seen it. Hated it or whatever." But critique it in some way.
Yeah.
But we're still. Actually, like we said during the week, kind of nice being tiny.
It is. I'm quite happy with this staying exactly where it is.
Yeah, because you can say bobble nuts or something like that, and it doesn't get cancelled, unless you show Apple videos, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Big no.
Yes. Somebody did say, "Oh, why don't you get sponsored like some of these other shows?" And I'm thinking, yeah, that's good. It will, it could pay bills, and we don't have to worry about donations or anything like that. But also, you have to kind of behave a bit more than what we do.
A lot more. Yeah, that'd be too restrictive for me. I'm sorry.
Indeed, yes. Jupiter Boy in the chat says Roger O'Donnell. I'm pretty sure Roger O'Donnell probably won't remember me, but he actually blocked me on Twitter some years ago because I said something slightly disparaging. He'd made some sort of comments and. I posted something, and at the end of it, I said, "I'm looking in your direction, Roger O'Donnell." Next thing I know, I'm blocked. But he probably doesn't remember that.
God, if I had £1 for every bloody person that blocked me, because I said something that I was hoping was intentionally funny, and they thought I meant it.
Sponsored by Viz. Yeah, that would probably work.
Yeah. Not far off, mate. Not far off.
I don't think we're kind of Viz's target audience. Well, maybe we are. I don't know.
You never know.
Oh dear. Apparently he blocked Ian Cole too. I shan't say the rest of the message on it, but yes. I'm in fairly esteemed company there, so that's not too bad. Anyway, I think we've whittled away 20 odd minutes quite nicely there.
Oh, we're good at that.
Yeah, we can do that. So apologies to our lovely audience who have stuck around for the bulk of that. I hope you found some of that nonsense quite interesting. And come back for some more soon. Hopefully Ben will be back next week, and we should start hopefully seeing the fruits of our guest booking efforts starting to come to to fruition, or coming to bear. So the fruit's not coming to fruition; the fruit's come to bear fairly soon.
The guns come to bear, don't they?
Oh, I don't know. Don't, because Andrew Brooks will just get on his whole teacher language thing.
It stems from the Greek.
Yeah, and we'll get the whole etymology. It's a big word there, etymology.
It is.
I'm just
Can
waiting
you
for him to
spell it?
respond. ETYMOL OGY?
Don't tell me. I wouldn't know.
Etymology? I
I wouldn't know if it fell out of a tree on me.
Apparently he's drunk. He won't do it.
Oh, he's drunk.
He's not going to take the bait. That's
You go,
no
it comes from
fun.
the Gaelic. Yeah.
Yeah. Comes from the garlic.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So let's see. So tomorrow we've got Ramsey, I believe, unless somebody
Indeed.
will tell me otherwise. We've got Ramsey at 2 p.m. UK time. Then, of course, Sunday we should have Jamie. I'm hoping
Yes.
that he's doing a show. And then I think the next show will be Nick on a Wednesday. Then you got Three Port Collective on the Thursday. They had Simon Alexander on last night, so I'm going to go and watch that maybe at some point over the weekend. Yeah, I think that's about it. And we'll be back same time, same place next week as per, and hopefully we'll be able to bring you some news of guests very soon. You got a busy bank holiday weekend lined up?
Yes.
Care to elaborate? Just for a
Yeah.
few more minutes?
I have a lawn covered in synthesizers, 3D printers, and CNC machines and stuff everywhere, and slowly finding places for everything to go and getting everything sorted out. And then the luxurious Skip will be taking all the rubbish down to the tip on
Nice.
Sunday.
There we go. So if you want to raid Kent Skip, tomorrow night is probably the best time. Are you doing a pub?
Tomorrow, possibly. It depends. There's something going on tomorrow
Okay.
that may or may not happen.
Cool. Cool. So watch this space.
Yeah.
Suspense.
Oh yeah.
Indeed. I've got a new toy coming. I'm not going to say what it is yet, but it's
Oh,
rather
okay.
large.
Is it sort of realistic hair?
It's very well formed.
Oh, there you go.
It's a musical toy, and it's quite large, not as heavy as one might expect. Something I'm told. So I'm very much looking forward to getting that.
Oh, I know what that is.
And I've actually, I don't know. Let me just Alexa, lights blue. Oh, she's not working.
Alexa, thank you.
Yeah, quite. Oi, Alexa, lights on. Alexa, light on.
Okay.
There we go. Right.
Robbie, block.
Yeah. Oh, actually, no, I've set up a camera over the other side of the studio specifically for it, but I can't do it now because the camera's not working.
Oh.
It's probably because I haven't turned it on or something. But yeah, I've got a camera over the other side of the studio, so can't
I
get
see.
me Billy Two Cams. Andy says get Dr. John. I'd love to. Oh, I'd love to. And we need to get. If we're going to do something like that, we need to get it sort of fairly quick. But yeah, definitely a good one. No, yes, something. I don't know. It's probably going to be. Well, yeah, it's going to be next week now because it's the weekend and it's bank holiday. So at some point next week, something rather large. It's not a Hydrasynth Deluxe, no, but something rather large and impressive is being sent over for a few months. So that'll be interesting. But I should be editing podcasts and finishing up an article or two for Gear News, and yeah, that's about my weekend, I think. Thank you, Kissing the Machine. Thank you very much indeed for your £5. Gert says, I wish it was the new Gemini. So yeah, that would be lovely if it was, but it's not. I'm
Yeah, I've
afraid.
got to wait till September.
Yes, exactly, and I don't have $3,500 at the moment. Although
I was
if
talking
I did,
to
that's
Ty
exactly
about
where I'd
it, and he's
Right.
not waiting till September.
go. No, I don't imagine he waits for much.
No.
We must get him back on as well when
Yes.
he's got like a full couple of hours or so. Yeah, so there we go. Lots to get on with for the weekend. And so everyone, thank you. I'm going to draw this all to a close. Thank you ever so much for joining us once again. Your patronage is surprising and incredibly welcome. So do come back to us next week, and of course, make sure you hit that like button that's underneath the video there. Do it now before you forget. Before you go away, just hit that like button now and see if we can get those like numbers up. And if you haven't already, do subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications. Although we are on every Friday, we haven't missed a show for 164 shows, and this is show number
164
164
years.
I know, never missed a show. So thanks ever so much, and I'm glad you all enjoyed it. Thank you for all the compliments in there. That's fantastic. I sit here sometimes and think we're blethering on about God knows what, and yet people still sit here and watch us.
You've not watched my show, have you?
No, I'm usually participating in it. I don't tend to
Exactly.
watch it.
And
yeah.
I mean, the cobblers that goes on that for
Yeah.
hours on end, and people
True.
stick around.
So there we go. That's another show, and we will see you same time, same place next week. Hopefully we'll have Uncle Ben back in the fold, and he'll tell us all about his gigs, because he's got another gig with Heaven 17 coming up as well soon. So that'll be rather
It's
cool.
almost like him being a guest when he comes on now.
I know, yeah. It's just,
Isn't it? So-
yeah.
And this week's guest is Ben.
Ben, yeah. Oh, Bab says she's going to see if she can dig out some more pics. Hello. Matron.
Oh, you're playing into her hands there, Robbie.
Oh, no.
Been
Well,
drawn into
hey,
her
hey,
web.
Yeah, so and Koshtikai has just reiterated what I said was the Hohner HS2 was the Casio VZ1 play. Anyway,
Yeah.
excuse me. Right, have a great weekend. If you're in the UK and America, it's a long one because it's Memorial Day in the US on Monday, and it's just Spring Bank Holiday, I think, over here. So have a fantastic long weekend if you're having one. If you're not, and we will see you same time, same place next week with more shenanigans and boring old farts talking about synthesizers. Until
We're
then,
getting some on, are we?
yeah, we.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So until then, have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Play lots of music and do stuff. Be creative for a change. And we'll see you. We'll see you very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.